Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus. Available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.
Hi there, a warm welcome to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and in the company of my Racing Post colleagues Paul Keeley and David Jennings, as well as from Paddy Power, we're going to look at 7 very competitive, difficult conundrums to try and solve that are being televised live on ITV4 on Saturday. There's loads of other meetings going on around the country, so the lads will have all their best bets. We'll have a little look at Sunday as well, and Paul Keeley promises us a hot tip for Turkey on Sunday. So looking forward to that. Right then, Kills, not the strongest Saturday, it must be said. This is the last of the sort of quiet Saturdays, though, because we've got Irish Champions Weekend and Harry Angel the following week. Then we've got the Ledger, and then we're into all the good stuff towards the autumn, and then obviously the proper stuff returns. But how confident are you that you're going to be winning money?
Well, it's funny because, you know, like you said, it's not the best Saturday in the world. But I said to myself, right, you've got to go in positive and not just say, oh, this is rubbish racing. And I've been looking through it, and I can find horse after horse coming out at me. So
really,
I've got loads.
Oh, good, excellent.
Whether they'll do any good or not, I don't know. It's going to be one expensive day, if not.
DJ, are your confidence levels high?
Similar enough to Paul in that when I knew I was doing this today, I did a bit of studying last night, and I was kind of going, oh, this is going to be shocking stuff. And as I went into each race, I was like, God, I fancy that. God, I really fancy that.
Where have you been?
That'll definitely win. So
where have you been, buddy? We haven't had your dulcet tones. Me and Kills have actually had to do some talking on this broadcast recently.
Well, I was on holidays for 2 weeks, and last week I don't know where I was last week, but yeah, okay. No. So yeah.
And you haven't proposed yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, Paddy, you've been in Vegas, haven't you? You went over to watch that Poxy so-called fight, didn't you?
I did, indeed.
Did you enjoy yourself?
I did. I had a great time. Vegas, my first time there. It's a bananas place. Yeah.
Can you recommend it?
I could highly recommend it. Yeah, and it caters for everyone. One thing that was the most pleasantly surprising, I was very worried about myself going over there with all the casinos and all that kind of thing, but punting was such a small part of Vegas, so I was amazed. It was just more like just partying.
You're not doing it properly.
Honestly, the crack was brilliant. It was just nightclub to party to bar. Sorry, I was working as well.
Well, that's your normal life, isn't it? There's no difference there, Pad, is there? I tell you what, we should buy shares in Vegas hotels, because if these FOBTs get banned, like it looks like they're going to, everyone's going to be flying out to Vegas and gamble over there instead.
Paddy, that fight, is that the least informed market you've ever come across in betting?
I think, well, that along with Brexit and Trump, but the other two went the wrong way as well. But yeah, absolutely, it was if there is such a good thing as a great 1-to-4 shot, I mean, it must have been the greatest bet of all time. But I think, and the key was every professional was saying that, and every professional was backing it. But the mug money in inverted commas, it was such a big event punting wise, and there was a huge swell of support from McGregor. So
Kills had £1,000 on it, didn't you, Kills?
But that's the thing. But the mug mark was so
big.
Yeah,
inside the distance.
£1,000 inside the distance. What a bet. Well done. You were never in doubt there, were you? I mind you, it did crack on a bit, didn't it?
I started to crack myself for a while, because I thought, you know, he was actually gulping for air after round 3, wasn't he? And he sort of held on, and he didn't actually look like getting stopped until about the 8th or 9th round. So, but you know, the point is, you know, the conditioning for professional boxing, if you're not conditioned to do 12 rounds, you'll never do them.
Right.
Like, you know, and he just ran out of puff. I don't think that Floyd Mayweather would ever have knocked him out with a clean punch. Like, you know, had he been fit enough to
wore him down.
But he just wore him down, and he had nothing. You know, he couldn't literally raise his hands, could he?
Paul Keeley wrote the book on conditioning. I can promise you that. Right, let's get stuck into the racing.
Altitude training. The
first of the 7 races on ITV4 on Saturday is the 150 at Sandown. It's the Bet Finder by BetBright Flyers handicap. And Paddy Power 5-1. Is it? Oh, it's about 4-1 the field. Is it with you guys?
It is, yeah. Shamson is 4-1 favourite. Then you got Justice Lady at 9-2, 11-2, Caspa. Where are we going? 6-1 Bahamian Sunrise, 13-2 Majestic Hero, and 7-1 Miss Your Joe. And just looking at odds checker, there's actually huge variance between the odds here between the firms, which is quite a good thing, I think.
Oh, there's some value out there, is it? So, Kills, is this one of the races that you strongly fancy something?
Yeah, having a look at it. I mean, you know, you always know that you need to have a low draw at Sandown, you know, most of the time. And but the horses in draw on 1, 2, 3, and 4, they've all been out of form, at least recently. I mean, Shamson in stall 4 does go well here and has won here this season. But I know, didn't it? Went very close here this season. But you know, in stall 5 is Bahamian Sunrise. Now, He's come in off 2 career bests, a win and a second, close second last time. He has won both his starts at Sandown, and he's got Sylvester de Souza in the saddle. And I just think he's the inform horse at the right time, and like a 6-1 shot. I think that's very fair.
You're a big SDS fan, aren't you, Kills?
Yeah, I love him. I think he's great. He always seems to have him in the right place. And I like him particularly at shorter distances as well.
Okay, so Kills is kicked off with Bahamian Sunrise, who is a 6-1 chance with Paddy Power. DJ, who do you fancy?
Gosh, this is going to sound like complete plagiarism here. My notes are Bahamian Sunrise, 2 from 2 at Sandown. Will handle a bit of cut in the ground. Has won off 68 and 75 last time. Only £4 higher now. Sylvester, big bonus. Stall 5. I think he'll get to the front because those towards the inner, I think a couple of them will be held up. So I think he will get across to the rail. And he's very hard to pass, especially at Sandown. I love course form on the sprint course at Sandown because I think it really does stand up. I think a lot of horses don't handle it, especially the hold-up horses that need to come wide with a late run. And I think Bahamian Sunrise will make all.
Terrible echo in here, isn't there? Everything you just said, Kills, it just came back into my headphones there. Paddy, who do you like?
I like Shamshan, the favourite. I think I can see the point with Bahamian Sunrise, but I just think Shamshan has been a bit disappointing the last couple of runs. But if he does happen to bounce back towards his best, I think very, very solid claims.
Well done, lads. Very good stuff to kick off with there. 225, the BetBright Solario Stakes. Very occasionally this will be a relevant race. I think Kingman won it, but apart from that, it doesn't.
Ravens Pass won it once.
Ravens Pass as well, yeah. But beyond that, you're not really generally looking at it as a particularly strong signal for the following year's classics. This year might be no different. Before we get the lads' thoughts, we'll get the latest from Paddy Power.
Yeah, so Massar is the favourite at 6-4, Purser 3-1, Connect 5-1, and 7-1 Romanised, 9 Vintager. The Bryan horse is 14-1 and 20-1. The rag is Arbalete.
Lead on, David Jennings.
Oh, Bruce, this Mazar is a different league to these, I think. I think he completely paid the price. Completely paid the price for trying to chase Nialetti, I thought, in the Chesham. And Nialetti went very, very quick that day and was on, it was very hard for Massar to sustain that gallop. And I thought that was the reason it didn't get second, probably. I thought the form behind when it beat Invincible Army on its debut at Goodwood is, it stood up to the test of time. Invincible Army, I think, is rated 108 now, so that's 109 even. That's really strong form. I think everything is in his favour. I think he's the best horse in the race. I'd be very surprised if he's beaten. There's some 2-1 elsewhere, so I think that's a cracking price.
DJ loves the jolly. Who do you love, Kills?
I think it's actually far more open than DJ makes it. I mean, obviously, Massar is one of the form horses. Romanised is the other because he wasn't beaten that far in the Group 1 last time, and actually, he's officially the best horse in the race. But Massar, he's been off for 70 days, and there's loads of group races he could have run in, but hasn't. He just makes you wonder why, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And for a short price favourite, I'd like to know why.
I'm sure our reporters will be on the case, so we'll get an answer later.
The maiden winner Purser, whose trainer John Gosling was responsible for Kingman and Ravens Pass. That's interesting. But I thought Connect was ridiculously impressive in a novice here last time. Made the running on easy-ish ground. And I think he's probably pretty decent. And I wouldn't rule out Vintager either. He won very easily last time as well, first time up. Even though he was 33-1 then, he actually won with plenty in hand. So I think this is a very open race. But I'd go for Connect because he's had both runs at Sandown and he obviously handles the track very well.
Who would you go for, Paddy?
I'm going to go with Purser because I think Gosling probably had plenty of options of potential runners in this race, and this is the one he's gone with. It was eye-catching, hands and heels, getting up by a neck or a head or something in the maiden win. So I think Massar, I agree, is probably the one with the form in the book we haven't seen since Ascot. So I think Purser might be the one that's very progressive. Loads of unexposed, so I agree with Keels on that, but I think Purser's the one I like.
Right, the 3 o'clock's the BetBright Casino Atalanta Stakes, another Group 3 and another open affair, Paddy.
Yes, it is another wide open affair. We got Al Jazzy is actually not favourite, but he's first in the list there. Natra's favourite at 130. Al Jazzy's 4-1. Intimations 9-2, and then the pressure of these getting these in the right order.
How long have you been doing this?
I know, and I used to be a board marker as well. On Her Toes 13-2, 8-1 each of Tis But a Dream and Greta G, and 10's the bigger the rest.
Seriously, Paddy, which year do you reckon you did your first recital of Paddy Power's prices to a live microphone?
Oh, wow. I'd say...
How long have you been on the firm for? Feels like forever.
Yeah, it is. It's now 96. I started officially. Now, although I'd done it, I would worked summers as well before that in college and that. But 96. So I'd say the first time I was let near a radio station or anything like that would have been probably 97, 98. I'd imagine.
20 years. You're getting the hang of it.
Getting the hang of it.
You can go first with the selection here, Pad.
Great. Okay. Well, I actually really like Natra here. I just think that well, first of all, I think that the Al Jazzi, who's top of the list, is one that's interesting, obviously, because obviously Botty's flying at the moment. But I just think Natra is one lightly raced enough since running in the Guineas and the French Guineas last year. I think the trip is ideal for her, and I just think it could be a good day for Gosden. I think she's going to be the one.
What do you reckon, Kills?
Yeah, well, I just wonder what price you reckon the guys reckon Rain Goddess would be if she was in this race, because Intimation would have beaten Rain Goddess last week if she'd got a run, and she's 9-2. I think she's a big favourite. I mean, on official figures, she's probably got a bit to find, but I think she's very much improving. She wants a little bit of cut in the ground, so as long as there's plenty of juice, she'll be fine if she backs up the recent run, because that was only 6 days ago. Al Jazzi's another one who hasn't run for 70 odd days. Now that's second to Kamara at Royal Ascot is the standout piece of form, but hasn't run for ages. She was a 40-1 shot then. It's a huge outlier on her form, and it came on very fast ground at Ascot. I just think Intimation is definitely the one to beat, and I think she'll go off Fav.
What's your weather app saying, Kills? There might be a bit of rain between now.
Well, it's going to be dry. It's going
race
to be dry. I'm surprised they didn't get any.
My one's showing a few raindrops late morning tomorrow.
Yeah, is it? Oh, good. Well, I'm surprised they didn't get anything other than a couple of small showers yesterday, because I got absolutely drenched in like a cloudburst in Epsom.
Did you?
Yeah,
Out with the dog.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, Christ. Now, Kills, I've just spotted that Racing Post Ground TV have got some Kit Kats. Okay.
Fantastic.
2-finger Kit Kats. So normally, DJ, we're trying to sort of keep you on the leash a little bit, but you can crack on here and give us chat to him first. The question is, can me and Kills eat a Kit Kat by the time you've finished dissecting the three? And just don't say I don't fancy anything.
You just ruined my joke. I was just about to say I don't fancy that.
Right, go on then, crack on.
As Paul said, Intimation was so unlucky. I'm the founding member of Colin Keane's fan club, but he had an absolute horror show in Intimation last week. Went for 3 different gaps and couldn't get them. She was the moral winner of the race, flew home, beaten half a length. And if it does rain, she won on her best performance came in the listed race at Naas last autumn when she beat Rosa Pierre by 4 lengths. That was on really deep ground. It was heavy ground. So if it does rain, I'm sure Paul will be doing a rain dance, because it has a cracking chance if it does rain. The one at a huge price, I think, that's overpriced is Opal Tiara. Now, you know what you get from Opal Tiara. She's exposed, but I do think she's overpriced. If you look at her last couple of runs, they've been in Group 1s and Group 2s. Will I keep going?
Yeah, I've only just finished the first finger.
Okay, not too bad. So, yeah, I just think Opal Tiara, she's rated 104, which puts her bang in the mix here. She was rated 111 back in May when she was second to Craig's Pipes at the Curragh. That's a decent enough run. And then, she's been asked some really, really tough tests since, including in the Celebration Mile last week when she was last behind Lightning Spear. But I thought she ran better. I thought John Egan accepted the situation very early there. She's beaten just over 8 lengths. Look, she's 25-1, but I do think she'll run well, Opal Tiara. How'd I do?
About 1 horse short. But anyway, that's right. We can live with that.
So close.
3:35. It's the Bet Bright Recall Handicap. Again, really competitive stuff. This 1 mile and 2 is the trip. Paddy Power, what's the latest betting?
The latest is Across Dubai is 4-1 favourite. You got Monarch's Glen at 6-1. Then you got 8-1 each of 5. Eugenio, Pacify, Thundering Blue, Silver Ghost, and Oasis Fantasy, and 10-1 and bigger the rest.
Kills, who wins this and why?
Hopefully Pacify. I just think it's coming back to form and has dropped down to a nice handicap mark now. It's been disappointed a couple of times this season, but I don't think he wants to go around really fast. Really good second to Anything Today last time at Newmarket. It's a while since he won, but I think he's very, very well treated at his best now.
And a great trainer.
Oh, obviously, yeah, Rafe.
Absolutely. Right, okay, DJ, who do you think is going to win the 3:35 at Sandown?
Trainers very rarely listen to me, Bruce, but
does anyone?
Not really, no. After the cocked hat at Goodwood, I said to myself, probably out loud, probably cursing Monarch's Glen, I said, that
Whoa, no, you can't say that, say that.
Take that out, Jack, sorry.
Yeah. That booking horse.
that hooer of a horse needs to have his
much better, is it?
His prize jewels taken off, because it just looked as if a horse that badly needed to be gelded. Traded very short that day, went miles clear on the Robert Hart. I think it went 2.6 in running, and just last furlong or two just absolutely fell into a hole. But I do think Monarch's Glen, in form, now that he's been gelded, is really well handicapped off a mark of 100. This was like my idea of a kind of an outside fancy for the Derby back in the spring. Was odds on for the trial at Sandown, and again was far too keen in that Bet 365 Classic trial. I just think there's a lot more to come from Monarch's Glen now that he's been gelded, and a mark of 100. He's drawn it and saw 11, which is not ideal. But I think back in trip, gelded in a handicap, I think everything is pointing towards a big run from Monarch's Glen.
Paddy, what do you reckon?
Okay, well, I think actually Across Dubai is the most interesting one. Very lightly raced, probably one's better ground he's had. Was obviously entered the Dante and the Derby before, and clearly hasn't shown on the track what they think he might be capable of at home. And I think there's a big upside there. He's probably going to be better than I think he's rated 95. He's probably a better horse than that. So I think and the other one I was looking at is Thunder Blue, because I think his form has worked out well, and he was valued for more than a length win the last time. He kind of ran all over the track there in the finish. But I think Across Dubai I'll go for.
That's Sandown done with. Let's bring you the result of the competition. On Monday, Maddie asked who is favourite for the Arc with Paddy Power. The answer, of course, is Enable. And the winning entry was sent in by Jack Flaherty from Surrey. Well done, Jack. £25 free bet will be added to your Paddy Power account. There'll be another chance to win a £25 or €25 free bet in Monday's Postcast.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes second, third or fourth to the SP favourite in 2 races today and every day this month. Max £25 per race. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back. The ITV action moves over to Chester now. They've got 2 races at the Rudy. Starting with the 210, it's the CorbettSports.com Chester Stakes, a listed handicap over a mile and an extended 5 furlongs. Paddy Power, God blimey, we haven't got anything remotely close to an odds-on favourite so far, have we? It's all wide open today, isn't it?
It absolutely is, yeah. And this race again, Who Dares Wins we have as favourite at 11-4, and he's as big as 5-1 out there. So really good discrepancies in the early markets. Cape Coast is 5-1, or sorry, Shrao is second favourite 4-1. Then Cape Coast 5-1. Then 13-2 each of My Reward and Graceland, and it is 14-1 and bigger the rest. So a good open field.
Okay, do you want to go first, Pad?
Yeah, I actually think Who Dares Wins is very short price. I don't think he's going to win, though. I think he just wants a bit further. Obviously, Cesar, which I think is the aim for this one. Cape Coast is the one I was very interested in, because I think Mark Johnson had a good few entries in this race, and Cape Coast seems to be one they've settled on. Now, drawn 11, which isn't great at Chester, but does have Franny Norton in the plate, which is obviously a big help. And so if we could get across towards the rail, which is an if, I think would be a huge player in the race. I think Shrao is very interesting as well, but I'd be pretty strong on Cape Coast. Just wish the draw was a bit better.
Jolly good. Jeno, who do you like?
I like Cape Coast as well, Bruce. I thought that run has been franked the last day at Ascot. Bin Batula was just beaten in that Melrose handicap at York. That was a cracking run, and just loved the way it knuckled down there. I know all these Mark Johnson horses really do knuckle down, but this seemed to be your typical Mark Johnson one. Looked like it was definitely going to be well beaten at Ascot, and just stuck its neck out and just grounded out and almost got back up. But I thought that was a really good run. If it was drawn in 1-6, 1-7 even, I would have been pretty confident. Drawn it in stall 11, but it's still not quite enough to put me off. I thought Graceland had a chance, but hasn't gone well in its couple of starts at Chester, which is a little bit worrying, because I think it is a track that you take to or you don't. So for that reason, I'm going to give Cape Coast a chance.
Kills you in the Cape Coast fan club as well?
No, I'm going to go with a rag. Like the others, I don't particularly like the draw for Cape Coast. I can see the case for him otherwise, but as Paddy said, I think Who Dares Wins wants further. I think Shreo is over bet every time it runs and very rarely shows up. I think My Reward from stall 2 is probably the most likely winner, but next door in stall 1 is Eye of the Storm for Amanda Perrett. Now, he came from a long break, having been gelded. He was an ex-Coolmore horse. He came from a long break, having been gelded, and I thought he was really eye-catching at Goodwood over a mile and 2 furlong first time. that trip was miles too short for him. Now, you've got to forgive a below-par second effort when he was only fourth at Newmarket and beating a fairway. But I think going up to this sort of trip, I mean, he had, listed in group form at up to 2 miles when he was trained in Ireland and over here. In fact, he won one of the races at Sandown on Eclipse Day a couple of years ago. I just think he's been dropped down to a mark of 95 now, and if he can recover his form and build on that first effort this year, I think around about 20-1 could look a silly price.
Jolly good. The other ITV4 race is the 320. It's a sprint over 5.5 furlongs, and yet again another big price favourite, Pad.
7-2 the field. El Astronaute 7-2. Then 5-1 Spring Loaded, Blythe Spirit and Confessional, both 7s. Takes Ali. Is there a load of hard horses to pronounce? Takes Ali 8-1. Willie the Conqueror 9-1. 10-1 East Street Review and Poet Society, and 14-1 and Bigger the Rest.
Right, O'Keels, who wins the 320?
I thought Poet Society ran really well last time. It was only 4 days ago, finished third. Stall 1, I don't see why it won't go well, and 10-1 seems a big price to me. I would give, if he comes back to form, Gracious John has dropped pretty heavily in the weights, and the way he used to scoot round Lingfield on the all-weather, tell you he won't win the turn in track, but I just think Poet Society sort of stands out around about 10-1.
Poet Society. DJ, who do you like?
I like Tex Alley, Bruce, for Pat Shanahan. It's funny going back through this horse's form. It won its maiden at Brighton, which obviously is quite strange for a horse trained in Ireland. But it beat Jet Setting that day, who was trained by Richard Hannon. So there's one line of form that probably nobody knows about. But Tex Alley, again, the Chester thing, was second to El Astronaut back in May. I thought it was unlucky that day. It just needed a run at a crucial time and didn't get it. And while it was a little bit disappointing behind Judicial on returning to Chester in May, again, nothing went right. The gaps just closed at the wrong time. I think he's in good form. His last 2 runs have been reasonably solid, a little bit disappointing at Hamilton, but I think back at Chester, off a mark of 92, it's been dropped a pound, and if the gaps do open, I think Tex Alley will be in the thick of things.
What do you reckon, Pad?
I'm with Poet Society. I'm with Keels in this one. It was a race I find it pretty hard to scratch my head when I was looking at it, but I just think this one drawn 1, and Mark Johnson obviously ran okay the last day as well. So 10-1. I'm pleasantly surprised to see the price.
Okay, and I've made a chronological faux pas because the 245 at Chester is also on telly. It's the CorbettSports.com handicap over 7.5 furlongs, and what would you know? It's yet another 5-1 the field event. I tell you, these races are tough on Saturday. They really are. You can't lose money here, Paddy, can you?
Well, you can. All you have to do is just buy it. It's much more appealing, though, as a punter going in
there.
It is.
It's more good, isn't it?
To get like 3-1 or something. So anyway, Breakable is 5-1 favourite in this. Sharp Defence 6-1. 7-1 War Glory. 8-1 Ichi Gabriel and Intransient. I forgot about 6-1 Kamari, who is stuck in there. Should be shorter. It should be earlier on in the betting because I'm useless at this.
21 years he's been doing it.
I know. But anyway, look, there you go. And it's 10-1 and Bigger the Rest.
It must be some hangover from Vegas, Paddy.
Yeah, something like that.
DJ, you can go first. Who wins this one?
And don't fancy anything that strongly, but I thought Intransigent, Andrew Balding's horse are running particularly well at the moment, and its second last run was at Chester and ran deplorably, but it was drawn out wide that day in stall 9, and I thought it was a return to form last time at Kempton. Off 91, it has been a little bit higher. I think it was 93 earlier on in the year, and just from that stall with Balding's horses going so well, I'd chance Intransigent. I think it's 9-1, is it, Paddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Paddy, who are you opting for?
8-1. It just went blue as we were talking, but I'm going to go for the Jolly Breakable, just with a decent draw in there. And stall 2 has been pretty consistent the last few runs, so it's not the race I'll be strongest on of the day, but Breakable.
How about you, Kills?
Yeah, Breakable. So much to like about him. Won this race last year, having come off a career best the time before. Had just matched that career best when second to Lincoln Vox at York. RPR of 100 according to Racing Post Racing both times. Has run 6 times at Chester, 4 times over this particular course of 7.5 furlongs. Small figures 1-2-1-1. The defeat was by a head, and has managed to get stall 2. Just has to run really, really well. Can't be out of frame.
I will be back in that. That's one of those ones where Kills just gets hold of you by the lapels and just talks you into backing the horse that he fancies. Well done. 3:15 is the Beverley Bullet over at Picturesque Beverley. Have you ever been to Beverley, Kills?
I haven't, mate.
I really fancy it. I've got a friend who lives up there and he says, you must come. It looks absolutely gorgeous. So We must get up to Beverley at some point, but it won't be for the 3:15 tomorrow, but hopefully we'll back the winner. First of all, though, before we get the tips, we'll get the prices.
Okay, this is probably my last time doing this today, so I've got to get it right. Okay, so let's see. Kimberella's favourite at 7-2. You got 9-2 each at Take Cover and Final Venture. Then you got 6-1 Alpha Delfini, 7-1 Judicial, and it's 10-1 and Bigger the Rest.
Oh, beautifully did with all your experience there.
Apart from the fact that Judicial's a non.
Oh, right.
Oh, is he? Okay. Well, he's still in the list. Still in the list. Okay, fine.
You would have to go and ruin it, Kills. Kills. I mean, if you were gathering together a collection of sprint horses that you've backed in the past and have an affection for, this would probably be that pretty much that field.
Those that are still breathing, yeah, it'd be pretty much all of them, yeah.
Who are you going to go for,
I do have a soft spot for Line of Reason on this course. He's gone close in this race a couple of times. Was really unlucky to get nutted on the line by Marek a couple of seasons ago. He does go well here. He has to get the breaks. But, there's a lot of pace in here. You've got Kimberella can go forward, Take Cover, obviously does. Alpha Delfini goes up with the pace. There's so much pace in here. I think there's something's got to come from behind. And if he can find the gaps, I just think a double-figure price for Line of Reason, who was in good form earlier this season and is much better than when down the field at Goodwood last time because he never got a run. So I think he's probably still in good nick.
Could you see it being a race where there is a bit of traffic problems?
It's Beverley. I mean, it invariably is. So.
Okay, well, Kills is going to go for Line of Reason at a big price. DJ, who are you going to go for?
I'm going to go for Line of Reason at a big price as well. Sorry, Paul. In the race last year, if you watch it against Alpha Delfini, do you know what? He could have bloody won the race. It was just the gaps. I know it's a horrible thing at Beverley, and you need the gaps to open, and there's so many hard luck stories, so there's no point picking out one horse with so many hard luck stories. But I think if the gap did open at the right time, he was beating a length in the end, although he finished 6th. That was off a mark of 104. He's off 103 now. He won the previous summer at Beverley where he beat Red Pike. He was rated 106 at that stage. I think the draw should be just okay in stall 5. Yeah, I thought earlier on in the week now 14s and 16s was huge. I think he'll go off a good bit shorter now that Paul has tipped it.
Okay, well, and you've tipped it as well, but DJ, I'm sure that'll help. That'll help as well. That'll help keep the price up. Paddy, who are you going to go for?
There's nothing between a load of these, so I'm going to go for Take Cover, the veteran. Just hope forgive him his last run, and he might just bounce back and just win by a nose.
Righty-ho, we're going to get the naps in just a mo.
Paddy Power are offering money back as a free bet if the horse you back finishes 2nd, 3rd or 4th to the SP favourite in 2 races today and every day this month. Max £25 per race. T&Cs apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Weekend Postcast. Bruce Millington, Paul Keeley, David Jennings and Paddy Power's Paddy Power. We've looked at the TV races. Now let's look to see what great bets are lurking elsewhere on the card. We've got the rest of Beverley. We've got Chelmsford. We've got Hamilton. We've got Navan over in Ireland. We've got Newton Abbott, their big day over the sticks. And there's also Wexford in Ireland. So plenty of options. Kills, hopefully you've sussed a few. Don't give us your nap yet, but any other horses you think we should be looking into backing?
Yeah, Newton Abbott, 325. Wait for me. I mean, I've been waiting to make money on this horse for so long. Kept backing him, gave up. And I always knew that he wanted to step up to 2.5 miles. And, of course, he did at the final day of the season. Absolutely bolted up at Sandown. And I'd never had a penny on that day. Now, I'm going to forgive him winning them when I wasn't on because...
Why were you not on?
I don't know, I'd just given up.
I was on.
I mean, he just absolutely bolted up. The horse has had a problem ever since he was a bumper horse, when he finished ahead of the likes of Yamworth, finishing 3rd in the champion bumper. He had a problem with settling. He finally settled that day, and if he's grown up, he'll still be a much better horse than he's gone. I think he's gone up £7 at 142. He's going up 2 mile 5.5 furlong here. I think he wants fast ground. I can understand why they bought him out for a reasonably valuable summer race now. And
what price are you hoping for, Kills?
I don't know, 3-1, 7-2.
Yeah.
Oh, he won't be that.
Yeah, you don't think so?
No. This horse could have won the county hurdle. The reins went over his face in the county hurdle. I was all over it in the county hurdle. The performance the last day was astonishing, really, and I think he'll be 13-8.
Do you think he'll win, Dave?
Oh, I think he's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah? Kills, is there anything else lurking in there, Kills?
Not really, no.
No? OK,
no,
DJ, what's your roundup? Don't forget, we need the horse, the meeting and the time.
Yeah. Do you want a few Kit Kats?
No.
I'm only joking.
Is this a 2 Kit Kat roundup or...
Yeah, it's
how many horses does it feature?
1 finger Kit Kat, 3 horses at Navan.
Okay.
And I'll be very quick.
Go on.
In order of, I'll go 3-2-1 in order of how much I fancy them. So 3 is the one I fancy least, but I think it'll probably win. Is Meet You at the Moon in the 255. It's a 5. It's almost 6 furlong handicap. But Tracy Collins' horse are running much better now than they were earlier on in the season, and it was a cracking run behind Ducky Mallon last time at the Curragh. That was a better handicap than this one. It led a furlong out and just got tired close home. So Meet You at the Moon, drawn in stall 2, nice draw as well in 255. I am convinced that Mr. Scarlet will beat Intelligence Cross in the 220. Again, same trip as the previous one. Intelligence Cross is rated £5 higher than Mr. Scarlet, but Mr. Scarlet is unexposed, I think. I don't think it's not fully exposed over this trip. Ran a cracker in the Commonwealth Cup, was 5th to Caravaggio, so I think Mr. Scarlet will win that. And my strongest fancy of all is My Silver Nails in the Premier Nursery handicap at 330 for Mick Mulvaney, local trainer, has booked Chris Hayes to ride even, and has only gone up £6 for absolutely bolting up in a nursery last time at the Curragh. I thought it got away very lightly. I thought it would get £10 for that. Likes a bit of cut in the ground. Mulvaney has a good record at Navan, and he's an improving horse going places. So My Silver Nails in the 330 at Navan.
Great job, DJ. That was excellent. Paddy, anything else that you like that isn't your nap?
Yeah, just the one at 7.50 at Chelmsford. I think this is the most valuable race of the day, which is a bit weird. But Fastnet Tempest, it's a really good handicap. I think the notes I have here is it's still in a fair mark. The Hunt Cup obviously didn't run to suit for, rather weirdly, it suited runners that were prominent at that race. So back at cheek pieces today rather than the blinkers, or tomorrow rather. Fastnet Tempest, I think, could be worth a bet.
Right, it's nap time.
This will not be beaten.
David Jennings, you're first.
I was very, very tempted, but I'm not. So I just have to mention in the 4:45 at Sandown, I was very, very tempted to go for Majest. That's down to a ridiculously low rating now and has gone down so quickly. I think it's been dropped £21 in a couple of runs. So Majest would be my second choice, but I have to go for My Silver Nails in the 330 at Navan.
Kills?
Yeah, quite. He's got to be breakable for me in 2:45 at Chester. Everything stacks up.
Okay, and Paddy?
Mine is Natra in the 3 o'clock at Sandown.
Well done, lads. Jolly good. That was Saturday. Now let's have a little look at Sunday. So there's no racing in Ireland this Sunday, which is very unusual indeed. Obviously, the following Sunday, DJ, it'll be the second part of Irish Champions weekend, so that will be good. Is that because, Paddy, all eyes are on the hurling final?
I don't have a rashers, to be honest. I'm surprised. I was surprised that there's no race on Sunday. I doubt if it's to do with the hurling. I'd say it's more likely to do with Champions next weekend.
Okay.
Possibly.
Will you be at the hurling, Pad?
No, I couldn't get a ticket for the hurling.
Couldn't you?
No.
A man of your influence.
I know, yeah, it's mad. This one's like hen's teeth because neither county has won the All Ireland for like 100 years or something. So it's a real difficult one to get a ticket for.
Give us a very quick tip, each of you, for the hurling. Pad, you go first.
I think Waterford will do it. Yeah, Galway would be favourite. I think Waterford will do it. I just think that Galway have tended to find a way to lose these big matches over the last few years.
Okay, DJ, there is a separate postcast, isn't there, on the hurling final, isn't there? So listen out for that. But just give us one bet, maybe not your main bet, but a weird and wacky one, because I shall certainly be watching that on Sunday.
Yeah, pretty keen on one. Under 2.5 match goals is 8-5 with Paddy Power, and Galway have got to the final without scoring a goal in their last 3 games against Offaly, Wexford and Tipperary, which is very, very strange, but they kind of pop over long range points from distance, so I don't think there'll be many goals. So under 2.5 match goals at 8-5.
And Keels.
Yeah, whatever DJ said.
Right. Well, Kills, you haven't got a hurling fancy for us, but I think now we've got Brighton and Worcester, and we've also got Velefendi, haven't we? The big meeting in Turkey where there's a lot of very valuable prize money offer. So, what is your Sunday best bet for us?
Yeah, we'll start off with Brighton. I've got one at Brighton. Let's see what I can find. It Phillies handicap 330. A couple of form horses at the top. White Chocolate, an impressive day, but Luca Kamani's got one.
No, I don't believe it. The only horse I fancy on Sunday. That is unbelievable.
330 Brighton. Kitty Boo. Just looks like she's improving now. Stayed on strongly at Newmarket last time. Back up to 1 mile 2, which I think she'll get on fast ground. It was soft when she tried it at Doncaster early in the season. Luca Kamani at Brighton. He's had 22 runners in the last 5 years, 9 winners, 8 seconds, 2/3 and a fourth.
I bet you've got that written down, DJ, haven't you? Eh?
Exactly that written down. I can even add to the argument as well.
Well,
I think 4 of his last 8 or 9 horses have won Luca Kamani as well. Did you see the race at Newmarket the last day, Paul?
I did, yeah.
Like, it was one of these rides where you're going, this is either going to be brilliant or a disaster from Spencer, and it was actually somewhere in between because he was forced to kind of make his challenge on the unfavoured part of the track at Newmarket, and you're kind of watching, you go, this is unbelievable, right? He's going to get there, and he just didn't get there. And the minute, I'd say 10 seconds after the race, Kitty Boo was in my tracker. I've been watching it every day since for the last 16 days, and lo and behold, Paul Keeley goes and steals my thunder.
No,
Kitty Boo
he hasn't
will
stolen
win that
your thunder.
3:30.
That's fine. It's a two-pronged assault on the bookies, this. Kitty Boo, 3:30, Brighton on Sunday. Kills and DJ implore you to get on. Right then, Kills, I'm intrigued to know who your Turkish delight is.
No, it's just in it's just interesting.
Wasn't that good?
First thing I say is, you get these three group, two Group 2s and a Group 3 at Velifendi, and year in year out they're won by British trained horses. And why more don't go over it for it, I don't know. It's about 165 grand on offer for the first race.
Astonishing, isn't it?
There's only 6 runners. I mean, it's bonkers. Well, Secret Number will probably win that. Won't be much of a price. The 2-year-old race I can't say I know anything about, but I think there'll be plenty of, the market will be all over Dreamcastle and Cool Company in the Top Carpy Trophy, which is 3:30. And I just think this Arcanado is really, really improving and might just surprise them all and make all. I thought it was a really good run when it was second at York in July. And I'll take my chances. One thing I'll say is if you're looking at the results the next day, have a look at the local SP returns. And thank God you do not live in Turkey as a punter.
It's pretty ghastly, isn't it?
There will be 3 horses under 2 to 1 in every race, and one of them would be nearly even. It would be, they bet to about 230%. It's bonkers.
That's not good. So Arcanada at 3:30 at Velifendi on Sunday. OK, chaps, well done. Right then, weekend plans. Presumably, Paddy, Mrs. Power has got a firm grip on you now after Vegas and is making sure that you are cleaning, looking after the kids, shopping and all that kind of thing all weekend.
Yes,
am I right?
I've been badly bitten by reality. Kids just gone back to school, so we start off, the taxi sign goes onto the car for this weekend. I go around to all the sports and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so it's going to be a rude awakening.
But you'll have a few punts, a few sneaky punts on the
That's
side.
what I spend my whole day doing. I'm on the side of the pitch watching all the streams on the phone.
It's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, pretend
It
I'm
is
cheering for them.
absolutely
Did you see that
appalling.
goal, Dad? No,
Yeah.
but you see the 350.
And then you suddenly shout out when there's a really quiet passage of play and they all think you're mad. DJ, what's the weekend hold for you?
Utterly boring. I'm working both days. It was one of these weeks where you have 2 shit days off. I was off Wednesday and Thursday, so I'm working at the weekend.
Oh, well, what do you do with your midweek days off? Play golf or you just mess
play
around?
a bit of golf and nothing really. I should have done more, to be honest.
I'm sure the listeners will be delighted to hear you describe working for the Racing Post as such a hideous burden. I always thought you quite enjoyed your job, no?
Oh, I love my job, yeah.
Good man, good man. And
Yeah.
Kills, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, I've just arranged a game of golf for tomorrow morning at a place called The Ridge in Kent, which I've never been to before. After that, I'll be on the ale all afternoon, I should imagine. I'm going to the theatre tonight. To see the Book of Mormon.
Oh, wow, that's meant to be
It's
quite dramatic, isn't it?
supposed to be brilliant, yeah. It's supposed to be hilarious. So
You don't often get along to the theatre. It's not really your thing, that,
not
is
really,
it?
no.
I once,
Oh, it's brilliant. I love it.
I tell you what, I once, as you know, we work in Canary Wharf, not for much longer because we're moving offices quite soon, but we get the most spectacular sunsets. And I said to Kills once, I said, look at that, Kills, the most unbelievable sunset. He goes, shut up, you know I hate culture.
No, I just reached for the wrong word. I just reached for the wrong word. We were talking shit. But,
So
anyway,
Brian Sewell's off to the
anyway,
theatre.
No, my normal theatre. I have in the past gone to the theatre and actually crawled along the what's it and gone out and gone to the bar. Like it was so dull, But this is supposed to be really good.
Yeah, so
I
I
like
hear.
the comedy.
And then golf tomorrow, and then
golf tomorrow,
Sunday.
and then Sunday will just be a wasted day doing nothing.
Backing a few horses at Brighton and Velifendi.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. What's the football?
about
No,
yourself,
it's
Bruce?
international rubbish, isn't it?
Garbage, isn't it? Yeah.
What'd you say, Pad?
What about you? What are you doing?
I'm working on Sunday. Don't normally work weekends, but I'm working on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it, unlike DJ. And Saturday, now that I've been blown out of Kills' game of golf, I shall walk the dog, watch football, watch racing, bet, and relax like I do.
we're all pretty boring,
much
aren't we,
every-
like?
Yeah, it's not much going on there, is there? Never mind. Right, OK, thank you very much indeed. Hopefully there were plenty of winners. Very difficult weekend racing, but hopefully you've managed to jot down a few winners. Maddie and the gang are back on Monday. We're back next Friday, looking ahead to Irish Champions Weekend.
Check out Paddy Power's new and exclusive Cash Card Plus. Available to use online, at ATMs, or even down the local. Paddy Power, you beauty.